Hey everyone, so this video is going to be our first video in the immunity section. Today we're going to be looking at antigens and pathogens. The learning intention of this video is to understand the difference between the antigen and pathogen, and we need to know the different types of antigens and the different types of pathogens. So we'll go through sort of what they are and what their differences are throughout this video. So antigens are any molecule or substance which can cause an immune response. So it's something that makes our immune system react in some way. And our body actually uses them as markers to sort of identify foreign substances. So here you could see, for example, a cell, and attached to it are its antigens or its markers. There are three types of markers or antigens. You've got self-antigens, and then you've got non-self and allergens. We'll break down what each of those means. But basically, self are ones that our body recognizes as our own. Non-self are ones that we recognize as foreign, and allergens are ones that we overreact to. So for self-antigens, usually our body is tolerant. Now I use the term usually because there are some cases where our body will attack its own antigens or its self-antigens. But usually they don't attack, and we call these antigens self-antigens. So here you can see an immune system cell is moving towards the cell and it recognizes this self-antigen and then won't attack it. It knows that that's a self-antigen. Non-self antigens are antigens that our body doesn't recognize, and that starts to cause an immune response, whether that's our cells start to destroy it or it causes inflammation, etc. So here you've got a cell with some non-self antigens, and you can see the immune system cell will identify those non-self antigens and cause some sort of response. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in our videos, what that response might be. But non-self antigens are the ones that actually cause our immune system to react. The last one are allergens. Now these are antigens which are normally harmless substances, but our body will overreact, or our immune system overreacts to those substances. So for example, pollen is normally a harmless or fine substance for our body to interact, but for some reason our immune system has identified them as really, really dangerous and causes an overreaction response. And we'll get to allergens and hypersensitivity in a later video as well. So that brings us to what a pathogen is. Now, a pathogen, and there's a really good definition, are infectious agents which are capable of causing an immune response. Now, they have antigens attached. So I'll draw your attention to this diagram here. Here you can see a bacteria, and on the membrane of the bacteria are antigens. Now, our body would recognize those as possibly non-self. You can see again a virus. This is the pathogen itself is the virus, but the virus has antigens on its outer coating. Okay, so pathogens are things like bacteria, viruses, fungal infections, parasites, things that actually can carry antigens into our body. And there are different categories of pathogens. We've got living and non-living. So our living ones, things like bacteria, we know they're living, fungal pathogens. We've got these other ones called protists, and they're just single-celled eukaryotes. So they're very, very small, but they can cause infections. And then things like parasites. Our non-living pathogens are things like viruses. So, for example, the coronavirus is an example of a non-living pathogen. It has antigens on it that our body is reacting to. The other non-living pathogen are ones which are called prions, and they're actually just proteins that are incorrectly folded, and they can actually start to damage components of our body as well. So they're examples of non-living versus living pathogens. So in review, we've got antigens are just markers that our immune system reacts to, and they can either be self or non-self or allergens. When we do encounter an allergen though, we actually provoke a hyper response. And pathogens are the agents which can actually carry those antigens into the immune system or into the body. And we know that they are living or non-living pathogens. And we sort of went through the different types. So hope this video broke that down for you guys. Thanks.